So we all know that Boise has been a great place to raise a family, a wonderful community, but lately we've seen artists moving in, and it's become a hot spot really for musicians and artists. And lately we've begun Film Fort here, thanks to Noel Hawkes, the director of Film Fort. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And this is also in relation to Tree Fort, am I correct?
Yes, so Tree Fort Music Fest takes place every year in March, and started with music and bringing bands from outside of Boise and also bands from all over Idaho to showcase their work here. And in the second year of Tree Fort, Film Fort started. I haven't been the director since the beginning, but I, for the last year, have been working as the director of Film Fort. So essentially, Film Fort is a film fest within the umbrella of Tree Fort Music Fest.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, I've experienced it, and I'm sure many of our viewers have, and look forward to the next year and many years after that. So why do you think Boise has sort of become now this hot spot for musicians? Is it the community opening up to it? Is it the young musicians and artists finding Boise a more amenable environment for doing their art? Or?
I think it's a combination of both. I think with Tree Fort Music Fest, this is going into its 6th year now. This has been a great way to get people from outside of the area to experience the local culture of Boise and realizing that this is a really receptive audience. And also for the local musicians and artists, this gives them something to look forward to and maybe showcase a new piece of work or a new album or a new film or something when they know that we have an audience not only from our entire community but from all over the country. So we have people who come here specifically for this festival, if not as an artist, as a festival goer. So it's the combination of inviting people here with this specific goal in mind, and then also the local community rallying around the momentum that this has created. It's
been a wonderful experience, I know, for many people here in town. So when we have this small Boise, sort of isolated from the world, bringing in, you don't just bring local artists or Northwest artists, but artists come even from the whole world, is that right? Not the whole world, but from outside. What kind of people do you bring in? I know that you've lived down in Rio de Janeiro and Brazil. Have we seen any Brazilian artists come up here?
We haven't had any Brazilian musicians, but we have showed some films that have something to do with Brazilian culture and international culture. But in terms of the music that takes place at Tree Fort Music Fest, we have international bands, we have national bands. About a quarter of the bands that play at Tree Fort are local, from the local area, the Idaho scene. And so it's a great combination of local artists plus people from all over the country and even international artists. And the films that we screened at Film Fort this past year in March were from all over. So even if the filmmaker wasn't able to be here in person, we had their film to tell the story.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, bringing people from the outside world, many of them probably didn't even know about Boise, Idaho.
No.
What has been their experience? Has the community been very receptive? Have they been sort of surprised at what a wonderful city we have here?
Yeah, they have been. It's been really great. So this was my 3rd season working with Tree Fort Music Fest, and I started as the director for Hack Fort, which is the digital humanities component, and then moved into working with Film Fort this past season. And everyone who I've received as the director of these events has been really enthusiastic about the community that they've found here in Boise. And these are people who are touring all over the world or touring all over the country, either showing their art or speaking about their experiences, educating people. These are thought leaders, and they've had fantastic experiences.
So, maybe a trick question, but what's the defining moment, or one defining moment that you've had an experience with in developing this, or something fantastic that's happened over the 3 years, or even looking into the future for Film Fort?
Yeah, so with Film Fort, one of the defining moments for me was, when I took over this component of Tree Fort Music Fest last year, I didn't know how I was going to bring these people together or find the films or get people excited about it, and everything just seemed to fall in place. People sort of came to the surface and sent films my way or gave me tips about new things happening, and so it really just seemed to fit, and everyone who attended was really excited. And one thing we did that was super interesting this year is that we gathered an audience at Film Fort that was so diverse in age that I don't think we'd seen that diversity in the Tree Fort crowd before.
So how could people get in contact with you and learn about Film Fort?
Well, we have a lot of information on the website, which is treefortmusicfest.com/filmfort specifically, or just peruse the site for information on the festival in general. And then people can email me. It's Jordan@treefortmusicfest.com.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jordan, for coming to speak with us today. And I look forward to the next Tree Fort and Film Fort.